Rabbits, rabbits, rabbits. So in today's video, we are going to talk more about rabbits. Some little facts about rabbit that everyone should know. Do you know that the male is called the buck, the female matured rabbit is called the doe, and the young ones are called kittens or kits? Now, the maturity period for rabbits is roughly 7 to 8 months. So when you get a rabbit, you should check or you should know that from the 7 to the 8 months you can cross it. Now, when you cross your rabbit for the first time, to know if the mating has been successful, you know that immediately the back crosses the doe, the back should fall either at the back or sideways, which means that the semen has been released into the female, which is the doe. After mating has been successful or after doing your crossing, the gestation period for rabbits is 28 to 30 days, which is 1 month, and the rabbit should give birth. The act of giving birth in rabbits is called kindling. To know if your rabbit is pregnant, there is something that you should do. There is something called palpation. When we say palpation, palpation simply means using your hand to feel the abdominal part of the rabbit to check if mating is successful. So some farmers, most of the farmers, which is when it is 1 or 2 weeks time, they catch the doe, which is the female rabbit, to check the abdominal part to see if the animal is truly pregnant. In the second week or the third week, some breeds of rabbits, or most of the rabbits, or some rabbits, take their fur from their tummy. Some rabbit who doesn't do it. When a rabbit is taking its fur from its tummy, it doesn't necessarily mean that the rabbit is pregnant. When you want to see, or if you want to check if the rabbit is pregnant, that's when you should practice something we call the palpation, as I said earlier. But if you want to see if the rabbit is not pregnant, or when you do the palpation and you see that the rabbit is not pregnant, it's called pseudo pregnancy, which means that a false pregnancy. And sometimes some farmers take the fur from their tummy. For rabbits that doesn't take their fur from their tummy. This serves as a shelter for the kittens, the young ones. When the young ones are being brought out of the doe, rabbits are mammals, so they can feed their young ones. When they are being brought out, it takes 7 to roughly 12 days for them to see, which means that when a rabbit gives birth today, the young ones cannot see. They are blind. They don't have any fur on their skin. So roughly 1 month, their eyes should open and their fur should grow completely. We've talked about gestation period already. Let's look at something. Do you know rabbits eat their own feces? Yes. But how? At dawn, rabbits start taking their head down to where their feces come from. The reason is when rabbits eat their feed, there is no absorption that takes place. So at dawn, they retake the feed again so that major nutrients or nutrients will be taken out of their feces. Now let's look at another thing. The lifespan for rabbits is 10 years or more. We have breeds of rabbits. We have the Flemish giant, we have the Californian white, we have the lion head, we have the Angora, we have the Harlequin, the Chinchilla, we have the English Spot, the New Zealand, we have Jersey Woolly, we have the Tan Rabbit, we have the Netherland Dwarf, and many more. Somebody may ask, what time can I wean the young ones from their mother? Now, one thing is, rabbit is an induced ovulator. When we say an animal is an induced ovulator, it simply means that you can cross it anytime when it's in its maturity period. When rabbits are 7 to 8 months, they are fully matured, which means that they can cross themselves and reproduce. We have animals like pigs, which have 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days in their gestation. Now, rabbits have 1 month, which means that when a rabbit gives birth today, you can cross it today. Why? Because it is an induced ovulator. Same applies to grass cutters. They are induced ovulators. So don't wait for your rabbit to be on heat. Rabbit doesn't come on heat like other animals do. Why? Because they are induced ovulators. So you can cross the rabbits immediately after kindling. And when it is 6 to 8 weeks, the kittens can be separated or can be weaned from the parents. One thing you should know about the mating, when you want to know that your mating has been successful, this is what you will see. One thing that you should know is that always the doe should be taken to the back. If you want to cross a rabbit, the doe should be taken to the back. And when you take the doe to the back, which is the female to the male, that's a mating fact about rabbit. To see if a mating has been successful, for the first time, you should observe when the male or the back crosses the female, which is the doe, it must fall backwards or sideways, which means that the mating was successful. And after 2 weeks, that's where you should do palpation to check if after the mating, the reproduction will continue or the crossing was successful. Now, we know rabbits are induced ovulators. We've talked about that already. We've talked about the weaning period, which is 6 to 8 weeks. And we've talked about the maturity. Now, you should know something about rabbit, that rabbits are herbivore. They can eat hay and different types of vegetables. You should also know that you can feed them with pelleted feed or formulated feed. So people who are thinking about the feed that rabbit eat, you can formulate a feed with a balanced ration, which is good source of carbohydrates, protein, and other ingredients. You should know that rabbits eat vegetables as well. So cabbage, lettuce, cucumber, you can use all this to feed rabbits and it will help them grow very well. Let's look at some of the purpose of production in rabbits. Rabbits are mostly kept for purposes. For reasons. It's for one, it's meat, it's fur, which is used for pillows and jackets and pleasure. And most people also use rabbits for research purposes, most of the time at the labs and in education institutes. One thing that you should also know about rabbits is that rabbits also, do you know that rabbits sleep with their eyes opened? Yes, you need to observe that. Rabbits, they sleep with their eyes opened. When you say that the rabbit is asleep, it doesn't sleep like that. Most of the time, you see that its eyes has been opened a little. The reason is they were created in that form so that they will always be alert. They will always be alert to dangers around their places or where they are being kept. Rabbits in the bush are called what? Now, we have a hare and we have a rabbit. I talked about rabbit that when they give birth, their kittens or their kids, they don't have any fur on their skin. But the rabbits in the bushes, when they give birth, their kittens are having fur on their skin already and they can feed. But with the rabbits, which is the one we keep in our homes, when they give birth, they will suck the breast milk of their mom. I mean their mother, which is the doe, until they grow the fur, their eyes are being opened before they start eating the feed that is being given to the doe. Thank you. There are more contents on the way about different types of animals.